Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 15th regular meeting of Council. I'd like to first recognize that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Snuneymuxw First Nation. Our clerk tonight will be Ms. Sheila Gurry. We also have Councillor Manley attending electronically tonight. Welcome, Councillor Manley. Tonight's regular meeting of Council is being held in accordance with the Community Charter and Council Procedure Bylaw 2018, number 7272. So if during the meeting any member of the gallery has a question regarding an agenda item, please write down your name and the agenda item number on the question period sign-up sheet, which is on the table to the double doors on the left. Please note that the Council Procedure Bylaw has been changed and states that questions will only be taken on staff reports, consent items, or other business items. Before we start the meeting, I would like to take a few moments to remind those who are attending in person about the rules of decorum for all Council and committee meetings. A meeting of Council is intended to be a place where democracy can freely take place in a respectful and safe manner. The Council chambers is a workplace, and there are considerations Council and staff must make to ensure that a safe work environment exists in accordance with WorkSafe BC regulations. To support this, and in accordance with Council's procedure bylaw, disrespectful conduct will not be tolerated, so we ask that there be no cheering, jeering, or other disruptions from the gallery, except tonight for one portion, where cheering and applause is not only acceptable, it's expected. We'll get to that. Furthermore, the use of electronic devices for recording or photographing is prohibited unless otherwise authorized through the media accreditation policy or by the chair. This will ensure that anyone speaking, whether it be a delegation, a member of council, or staff, is not interrupted and can make their point freely and without distraction, fear of ridicule, or intimidation. That said, there may be moments during certain presentations, as I've mentioned, or recognitions where expressions of appreciation are welcome. In instances where a speaker is being inappropriate or has exceeded their time limit, their microphone will be cut off. Similarly, if there are disruptions by any person in the gallery, they will be asked to stop, and if they do not comply, they may be asked to leave as permitted under Section 133 of the Community Charter, and if necessary, Council may call a recess in order to reset the environment of the Council chambers. It is our belief that if everyone is respectful of these basic considerations, this meeting and future meetings will be more effective in furthering the business of the City of Nanaimo. The first item on the agenda, as always, Ms. Gurry, is the introduction of late items, and we have several. Please.
Yes, thank you, Worship, and good evening, Council. For late items this evening, we have mobile food vending review and update, adding the PowerPoint presentation titled Mobile Food Vending, and that's for agenda item 12B. Agenda item 13A, Development Variance Permit, number DVP 487 for 5100 Fillinger Crescent. We're adding a delegation from Rusty Irish. We're adding agenda item 16A, Councillor Manley Notice of Motion, re 4-pillar approach. And agenda item 17C, Councillor Armstrong motion regarding dry supportive housing. We're adding a delegation from Peter Giovando, Newcastle Community Association. And that's it, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Motion for adoption of the agenda is amended. Moved Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion for adoption of the minutes is circulated. Moved Councillor Perino, seconded Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. The Mayor's report. I'll try and be relatively brief tonight. There are a couple of news releases that I want to make reference to. The first is that the City of Nanaimo has earned a bonus from BC Hydro for our pool water treatment upgrade. The city received a bonus of $78,600 from BC Hydro to help offset implementation costs, recognizing the innovation and environmental benefits of the upgrade. The City of Nanaimo replaced traditional UV pool water treatment systems with an enhanced chemistry and filtration system, improving water and air quality while reducing chemical use and energy consumption. The new system, combined with speed drives on pool pumps, is projected to save over 489,000 kilowatts, roughly $34,000 annually, contributing to the city's sustainability goals. I just want to thank staff and all those who worked in that project. It's a good positive step for the city and sets a good example for everyone else. Secondly, the Winter Wonderland is bigger and better than ever. The City of Nanaimo Parks, Recreation and Culture Department is pleased to bring back the popular Winter Wonderland free skating event taking place on December 24th and again from December 26th to 31st. The Frank Crane Arena at Bevan Park will be transformed into a West Coast Winter Wonderland theme featuring twinkling lights, seasonal music, a forest of real trees, and a variety of winter decor to add to the Wonderland experience. Activities over the 7 days include free skating sessions. A Kinsman Pancake Breakfast will occur on Sunday, December 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Bevan Park Social Centre. New this year will be Music in the Bevan Breezeway, where residents are invited to bundle up, bring a chair, and enjoy live music on Saturday and Sunday, December 27th and 28th from 11:30 to 2:30. And given there's a live audience here, I'm going to take advantage of this to, on behalf of council, wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, which I think takes on a particular significance in light of what happened at Bondi Beach the other day in Australia. And I had occasion to speak last night at the lighting of menorah, and I just want to say simply what I said there last night. This is a peaceable country. This is a peaceable kingdom. This is a place where people are free to practice their religion and their faith without fear and harassment. Doesn't always work that way perfectly, but we should be proud of ourselves as Canadians and remind one another in this holiday season in particular to be kind, to reach out, to be generous. For those of us who have a few extra shekels in our pocket, it doesn't hurt to support the many agencies in this town which are supporting those who are vulnerable, those in our streets, those who suffer from all kinds of issues. It's a time to show us at our best, and I encourage each and every one of you to do that. Just as tonight we honor a citizen of our community, one of our citizens, who has proved in every day of his life in this community that he values his citizenship and takes his responsibilities seriously for all of us. We have nothing to rise and report on, Ms. Gurry. I went to advise the obvious. Some of you have noticed I'm wearing the Merrill bling tonight, the chain of office. And it is because we have a very special presentation tonight. I am delighted to talk a little bit about what it is to be a patron of the City of Nanaimo. It's a distinguished honor which Council is able to bestow upon an individual or a group that has been nominated to us for their extraordinary contributions to the civic life of our community. Tonight, this esteemed recognition, which was unanimously approved by Council in October, is being presented to an individual who happens to be sitting center stage, front row, Brian Cornborough. We thank Brian's family and friends who are here tonight in support, and those who may be watching on the live stream. There have only been 6 former patrons of the city since 2005. The first was Douglas Finlayson in 2005, and Dr. Herbert Welsh the same year, Corinne Stewart in 2006, Kathy and Charles Torium in 2013, Craig Evans in 2022, and earlier this year, Shirley Lance. Brian has devoted 35 years of selfless volunteer service, giving time, energy, and expertise without expectation of recognition or reward. His commitment exemplifies the very spirit of our community, quietly making a difference, strengthening connections, and improving lives. Goes back a ways. Beginning in 1990, he started volunteering with the Nanaimo Cancer Society as well as the Salvation Army yearly Christmas Kettle campaign for fundraising. 1994 to 2002, he was on the board of Nanaimo District Youth Soccer, became president of Nanaimo District Youth Soccer eventually, actively involved in fundraising and the grant submission applications which are so necessary to keep those organizations alive. A member of the Nanaimo Lions Club, proactive in the building of the Bevan Field House. In 1999 to 2014, as I say in 99, he joined the Nanaimo Citizens on Patrol and became president of the group. The group was so outstanding in the province under his leadership, they were often asked to assist other municipalities. Joined the Citizens on Patrol Canada and is still actively involved on their board as treasurer. He organized 5 annual conferences, bringing hundreds of volunteers from BC and Alberta, and secured very respected guest speakers for each of them. Volunteered many patrol hours on his own in the streets every weekend, initiated the bike patrol program, authored and published a book, which I have read, by the way, called Time Well Spent. I wish I could say that about every day of my life. Called Time Well Spent, about the history of the Nanaimo Citizens on Patrol. In 2006, he was awarded the Vibrook Memorial Award for his outstanding contribution to the Nanaimo RCMP through the Citizens on Patrol Society, and he's received this award more than once, but removed himself as a possible candidate to ensure others had the opportunity. 2013 to 2018, led the volunteers team for the Vancouver Island Exhibition security team, joined the VIEX board, serving 3 years in security, 2 years as vice president, and then president. 2014 to 2020, volunteered with the Nanaimo Miners Softball Association and served on the board and then as president. Proactive in fundraising and the submission of many grant applications. 2014 to the present, the Nanaimo RCMP approached Brian to join the Crime Stoppers Central Island team, served on the board, then became vice president and currently president. 2015, awarded the RCMP Officer in Charge Certification of Appreciation, Superintendent Mark Fisher, for his 15 years of volunteer service and one of the RCMP's longest-serving detachment volunteers. 2023, I'm getting to the end, don't worry. 2023 received the Nanaimo Sport Achievement Award for the Hero in You. And in 2024 to the present, he is on the board of Crime Stoppers of BC and currently their vice president. Today's presentation carries an added significance, as many of you know, and I'm wearing the pin buried here, as the city is celebrating its 150th anniversary since incorporation through 2025. We grew from a coal mining settlement into this dynamic community, known for its natural beauty, its cultural richness, and a strong sense of community. I will state the obvious. This transformation was not achieved by governments alone. It was driven by the countless contributions of volunteers, advocates, leaders who give freely of their time and make Nanaimo a better place, and Brian Cornborough is certainly one of those. I'm going to offer an opportunity, before I say a few more words, as I've known Brian a very long time, for any members of council who wish to say a few words about Brian. And I'm going to turn to Councillor Thorpe because I know he's known Brian a very long time. Councillor Thorpe, please.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and absolute pleasure for me to say a few words about Brian. Hopefully not repeating too much of what you've already acknowledged, but yes, I've had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Cornborough for, as I think back, approximately 50 years, going back to his involvement in what was then the Nanaimo District Youth Soccer Association and the Wellington Youth Soccer Club, through his many years as president of minor softball here in town. Crime Stoppers, as you've referenced, Your Worship, Citizens on Patrol, his involvement with VIX. So many aspects to his volunteerism that I'm sure we're missing a number of them. But, you know, what I've noticed in my years at this table, Your Worship, is that quite often it seems that citizens who contribute the most to our city and to our community are ones that do it very quietly and modestly, and we often aren't aware of their contributions. And that's why I'm just so pleased that Brian's name has been put forward for this rare honor from the city, because he is a quiet and modest gentleman, and his work has gone not unnoticed, but below the radar in a lot of cases for all the good he's done to our citizens. So I just want his family to know and his friends to know that Brian, we appreciate what you've done for Nanaimo over the years. You, sir, are a class act, and this is a well-deserved honor that I am so pleased that you're up for. So thank you for being here tonight, and thank you again for all you've done for the citizens of Nanaimo. This is well-deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thorpe. Councillor Armstrong, then Councillor Hemmons, please.
Thank you. Yes, I really want to acknowledge all the work that you did for the RCMP, especially when I was there leading the community policing from 2010, I think, to 2015, and then moved on to something else. But the work that was done by Citizens on Patrol was amazing. People don't realize, back then we were able to send them out, and they would actually go to hot spots where drugs were being sold and write down plates and stuff for us, till the RCMP found out, and we kind of had to stop that, because headquarters thought it was too dangerous for them to be out taking plates, but they were doing it. And the many stolen vehicles, they were even put into areas where we had lots of B&Es in progress, and they would be out there making random patrols, and the work was amazing, and Brian did all this. He put this program together. He made it to the point where we could actually get approval from Ottawa, where they were actually given a police radio, which didn't happen often, so they had communication with the police back and forth, which was great. And just all the time and effort he gave and helped me when I was putting together some of the other programs in community policing. And he was the first one to be there. Do you need help? What can I do to help? And for that, I'm eternally grateful, and thank you so much. I really appreciate all you've done for the city.
Thank you. Councillor Hemmons.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mr. Cornborough, one of the really amazing parts of my job is that often names come forward of people who have done really quiet and heavy lifting on behalf of our city. And I just want to say it's a real pleasure to be here tonight, to be part of the team that gets to see you awarded this. And I want to acknowledge you've brought this incredible troop of people with you. You're obviously well loved and supported. We've met, I went back actually through my emails over the course of my nearly 8 years here on council, and we've corresponded a number of times, and it's always been about youth activity and youth sport. And as someone who holds that very dear to her own heart, I was at the Bebin Fieldhouse last night for a Christmas soccer wind-up with my 14-year-old. Thank you for all of your efforts and work on that facility. And just thank you on behalf of all of us for all of your efforts to ensuring that youth are well and healthy in our community. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Brian, I'm not going to go on at length, but I think it's about 40 years, give or take. I was trying to figure it out. You were a young man rising in your career with BC Assessment Authority way back when. It was pretty obvious to me that you were someone with a lot of ambition and energy, but I wasn't as aware at first of how much you were already starting to give to the community. And I think that I can't emphasize enough what Councillors Thorpe and Armstrong and Hemmons have already said so eloquently, and that is, as most recognize, you didn't do it for recognition. You are the solid backbone of a whole series of organizations in this community, and as Councillor Hemmons pointed out, often focused on youth and ensuring that they get the best opportunities they possibly can to grow into good citizens. And by your example, if they were paying any attention, you probably produced a goodly number of citizens in this community and kept a lot of kids out of trouble and made us a safer and happier place. So I am delighted to see you get this award tonight. I think, Council, this is when we're allowed to stand and do what is deserved. So, on behalf of the Council and the citizens of Nanaimo, I am very honored and privileged in a few moments to present Brian Cornbur with the official signed and sealed certificate for Patron of the City, which reads, Council for the City of Nanaimo at a meeting duly convened in the Shaw Auditorium, Vancouver Island Conference Centre, City of Nanaimo, Province of British Columbia, on Monday, October 20th, 2025. The following resolution was passed by unanimous vote. That Council hereby bestows upon Brian Charles Cornbur, the patron of the city, in recognition of his 35 years of dedicated volunteer service, unwavering commitment to community safety, and the generosity of civic engagement which has made a lasting impact on our community. With sincere gratitude, we honor your legacy of service. The signatures of the members of the 119th Council and the seal of the Corporation of Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada. I'm now going to give you an opportunity to say a few words. And I must tell you, I think modesty is a highly overrated quality. The mic, sir, is yours. Yes. You can trust us. We're politicians. We wouldn't knife you.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I know you have some other business, but I'm just going to take a minute of your time and say what I think about being here tonight, how honored I am to be here tonight. I think the mayor probably said that we don't do this for recognition. We just go do the volunteer work and make sure it gets done. So thank you very much. There's a few people here that may or may not be with a sports club or something. I wish I could relive some of those days, some of the days that we're dealing with young kids that are like a granddaughter's age, 7 or 8 years old, and then the next day dealing with some of us who are a bit older at the detachment. So I really had the whole scope of age groups and people and responsibilities. It just blows me away. Anyway, When the mayor phoned me on a Saturday morning, not sure, no, you weren't working Saturday. When the mayor phoned me to tell me about this award, I was blown away, first of all, that, no question. I went and talked to my wife and said, you know, I wish my mom and dad were here because they would appreciate that. And that's the honor that I think I'm getting tonight, is that for my mom and dad to be here, that's the highest honor I could think of. So thank you very much for that. To all the people that made this possible, I have people who wrote letters, who were on teams, family, and this isn't all the family, there's some missing. Family and friends and everybody in the city of Nanaimo, and Donna, who I've been chatting with the odd time over the last few weeks. Thank you for your work there. That's really it. I'm blown away by this, and I thank everybody for their input, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Brian, take it away. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being part of this ceremony and your support for Brian. Very kind of you to attend tonight. Congratulations again, Brian. Very worthy recipient. No mistaking in giving you this award. You certainly have merited it. He tells me he finds it heavy. That's because it's good quality, just like its recipient. We are now going to take a 10-minute break and let those who need and want to exit the building, so to speak, or go and celebrate as the case may be. And again, particularly to the family, who Brian pointed out are not all here, thank you for coming out tonight. These are the special moments in a person's life that will always be remembered, and you'll be awfully glad you came here tonight to honor Brian. Thank you.
Isn't anything to celebrate yet. Positive change is underway, growing from the efforts of grassroots organizations and the vision of Nanaimo's community. A better Terminal Avenue gateway is being created. In the early coal mining days, Terminal Avenue wasn't a roadway. In fact, it wasn't even land. It was a tidal inlet and regularly filled with ocean water. Throughout the coal mining days, the inlet...
80 minutes, so we have none. Motion for adoption of the consent items. Moved Councillor Thorpe, seconded Councillor Brown. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. The next, we have delegations unrelated to agenda items, and I'm going to exercise a little power here and swap the order. And we're going to ask Bruce Martin, Harmac Employee Owner Group, Harmac Ownership, to come forward first, please. And Mr. Martin, you'll have 5 minutes, sir. When you get to the mic, if you can introduce yourself for the record. And when you get to 4 minutes, I'll let you know you've got a minute left. Okay?
Okay.
And welcome.
All right. Hello, my name is Bruce Martin. I live at 5934 Cathedral Crescent in Nanaimo. And I want to say thank you, Mayor and Council, for giving me this opportunity to speak at this meeting. You may notice I'm speaking from a script which I prepared at my kitchen table. Trust me, this is not the efforts of a professional lobbyist. The topic myself and the next speaker will be talking about is we'd like to address the rescinding of the Councillor Manley motion of November 17th, 2025 regarding amendment to zoning bylaw 4500. And I'll start by letting you know I'm an employee, shareholder, and director of Nanaimo Forest Products. Some of you may remember me from a few years back when I spoke at a city council meeting during which Nanaimo Forest Products generously increased the buffer zone between our potential I-4 development lands and the regional district in Nanaimo Cable Bay Trail from 50 meters to an average 100 meters. Now here we are 3 years later discussing an attempted change to bylaw 4500 which could affect NFPL's ability to market these lands. If this bylaw were to become a reality, it would threaten the ability of our business to continue. It would restrict our ability to diversify and grow, which is essential to our success. A fellow NFPL board member will be presenting tonight at this meeting on the business effects of the motion to possibly change bylaw 4500. I'm here tonight to talk about the most important part of the Harmac operation, which is the people. Most folks think of Harmac as this large industrial business located south of town, an industrial business that converts waste wood, be it slabs from a sawmill or non-marketable logs from logging operations, into a high-value, internationally marketable product. Harmac does all of this, but it does it because of the people that operate the Harmac Pulp Mill. Since the restart of Harmac Pulp Mill in 2008, we've retired over 200 people into the community with a form of pensionable income. There have been approximately 300 new people hired at Harmac since 2008. Some of these are tradespeople, engineering specialists, and those trained on site for operations jobs requiring immense responsibility. Some call it a family that works together to achieve our production goals while doing so in a safe manner that stays within full compliance of all environmentally permitted aspects of the operation. Harmac has a fully staffed technical department that is responsible for quality and environmental compliance. I'd like to ask Mayor Croghan Council just to look up the gallery behind me, and some of these people are Harmac employees. These people and many others make up the 350 of us that make Harmac function.
1 minute, sir.
These people are parents, grandparents, and single people looking to buy their first home in Nanaimo. As well, these people are taxpayers, consumers, and voters. Nanaimo Forest Products is a strong company because of sound business decisions made by management and a continuing commitment in the control rooms and on the shop floor. NFPL has been able to weather the cyclical nature of the pulp markets and the ongoing struggle for available wood fiber chips, as you may know them. Part of our success is diversification to other forms of revenue, but I will leave that discussion to our next presenter. Contrary to what some of you on the City Council may have heard, nobody at Harmac is agreeable with this motion from November 17th, 2025 council meeting regarding the zoning bylaw change 4500. Thank you for listening to me, and I will now do my best to answer any questions you have.
Well, sir, I must say you've got the
Nailed
right pace. That was perfect. That was perfect. But we're not giving out Patron of the City awards twice. Tonight. Good performance.
Speed talk.
Councillor Armstrong, you have the first question.
Thank you. Two questions, if I may, Your Worship, through you. The first one is, I know that you pay about 2.4, 2.5 million, something like that, in taxes to the city as well, and that there's over $200 million paid out to businesses and companies in the area. I've also heard that you're over $500 million of economic benefit to the city. Is that accurate? And if so, can you expand on that?
I would say yes, it is. We pay, on average, $50 million a year in wages alone. That's just 350 people working at Harmac. All those people go out, they take out truck loans and car loans and mortgages. As well, we've got other businesses, contractors, we've got outside labor services, and they all contribute to that $200,000. We have capital projects, one we just signed off on that we're going to be starting for $22 million. A couple of years back, we spent $64 million on capital projects and improvements to the Harmac pulp mill. So yeah, we spend a lot of money.
And my second question, I don't know if this is for you or Mr. Crusoe, but we've heard a lot about raw exports as being part of the issue. Can you speak to that?
You know, I really can't. I don't know the answer to that. It seems to be one of those untouchables that the government, the provincial government in their wisdom, seems to allow to happen. I have been a part of a panel once, and we spoke to some of the business leaders with some of the major logging companies and harvesting companies, and they said it's just an affordability issue for them. They get more bang for their buck, send them overseas, and I can't tell them how to run their business.
And are you able to piggyback on that by going in to get some of their leftovers?
Well, what we'll do is we'll take when we can and when it's affordable. I mean, we take, as I said, wood slabs. We'll take what some people might think is garbage wood, but a lot of that garbage wood has a very high BTU value, and you know, and good quality fiber. So we can use it in a couple different ways, either as a production input to our mill, or a biomass, which we're now burning to produce electricity for sale back to BC Hydro. So there again, it's an affordability issue, and it's a commitment by the forest companies and the provincial government to tell them to let us bring that wood out and access that wood. But that's all ongoing right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. As I understand it, the raw log exports are mainly coming off privately held forest lands over which the province doesn't have regulatory control in the normal sense. If the federal government wishes to impose an export tax on, they are certainly in a position to do so, but historically haven't done so. Councillor Perino.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question through you to Mr. Martin. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Martin. It was as good as any scholar speaking to us, so thank you so much. I just, I wanted to ask you, you spoke about the environmental issues that Harmac goes through. Is that through the provincial government, or is it federal? I wasn't sure. You said you have a team that regulates what goes on at the...
Yeah, there again, I can't speak specifically to what they do, because they're such a professional group of environmental coordinators that we've got. These people are engineering, or I should say process engineers. They're chemical engineers and technicians. So they deal with the provincial government, yes, on the emissions and the compliance with our emission limitations and things.
No, that's good, that's good.
I can't say any more than that about
No.
them, but they are a team, and they are specifically there for that purpose.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Thorpe, and then Councillor Manley.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, through you, if I may. Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Martin. Appreciate your presentation. Just one question, because it's something that I think is important and I want to be clear on. Council, I believe, has been told that the proposed revision to bylaw 4500 is not aimed specifically at Harmac and would not have a negative effect on your operations. And what I am sure I just heard you say, because I made a note of it, is that this proposed change would restrict your ability to expand and diversify. Could you just comment on that, please?
By expand and diversify, I mean develop our 200 acres of I-4 land. That diversifies the business. It affords us other revenue streams, such as we did in 2012-13 when we installed a $45 million condensing turbine, and it's a 25 meg turbine, and we sell back to BC Hydro. As things get tighter and tighter with the fiber supply and, like I say, the cyclical nature of the business, we find that we're having to look outside of conventional revenue for a pulp mill, which is selling pulp. So we are wanting to invest in other businesses. As far as the Harmac site goes, if that's what you're specifically asking, we don't know exactly where this this motion to amending bylaw 4500 is going to go. We could possibly want to increase our steam production, which would mean that we could possibly put, these are all just possibilities, put in another hydro generation project. And if that meant us burning more biomass, wood waste product, we would. We don't know if that's the direction this amendment would go, because we're on I-4 lands as well. So that's where we feel it could hamstring us in the future, as far as expanding the business of Harmac itself on the Harmac site. So there's a couple different issues we've got with that amendment.
Okay, thank you. That helps me. Thank you very much. And
That answer you?
if I may, Your Worship, I just want to acknowledge, as you pointed out, sir, what I felt was a very generous concession by the company to voluntarily expand the buffer zone along the trailway to the park. So thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation, Mr. Martin. I want to assure you that the intention of this bylaw, well, legally we couldn't change anything that Harmac currently does. So we could not affect the current operations of Harmac. But clearly in the instructions that when I wrote this down and talked to staff about it, I said that any waste to energy that was utilizing waste products that Harmac already does, like using hog fuel or black liquor or slag, would be exempt from the bylaw, because that's part of a circular economy. So the intention of the bylaw really is for large emitters to have a democratic process, so that we could have public hearings. And complementary businesses like cross-laminate timber, mass timber, another mill, any kind of forest product would be exempt from the bylaw. So I'm just curious about whether you would be opposed to having public input about a large emitter, such as a garbage incinerator, on a site maybe not owned by Harmac, but by one of the other large landowners at Duke Point.
You're throwing a lot of things at me there that I don't really appreciate. I told you that I would answer these questions as best I can. I can't see in the future. I don't like anyone starting off with the intentions. I want to see the wording. I've heard provincial government talk about the intentions as far as some of the mess we're in right now in British Columbia. I don't take that. I want to see what it says and what the legal interpretation would be of a full-on amendment. I don't want to hear this stuff about burning garbage and that. Don't bring that stuff up to me, please. I'm not going to answer a question like that. We have no
Okay.
intention of burning garbage.
The intentions were in the document.
Councillor Manley, if there's a question, ask a question. This is not a debate tonight, please.
Okay, did you read the document that was attached to the motion when we brought when I brought the motion forward?
Yeah, we read it and looked at it, and it's fairly broad. It's quite broad, and in our interpretation of your motion is that there could be the possibility of a limited amount of increase, if at all, in burning wood biomass to produce electricity for the area.
Okay, well, that wasn't the intention, so thank you for your.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin, just a couple of questions. We received a letter today, Council, from someone who's, how shall I say, less than supportive of Harmac, and indicated that she felt that the employees owning 25% of the shares, as I understand it, didn't have any impact on decisions made by the board. And I just, if you can, explain to Council tonight how the board operates, who sits on it.
Okay. Myself and 4 others are board members of the Harmac Employee Ownership Group, and of that, the 5 of us, 2 are chosen to represent the ownership group on the NFPL board, along with 2 from each of the other 2 major shareholders. There's 6 of us. We all have input, we all have a vote, and you can ask the next presenter, Frank, if I personally, representing the employee ownership group, has a voice on that board, and he'll tell you, yes, I do.
Thank you. And just to confirm, you generate electricity for hydro. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard the figure that it provides electricity for roughly 28,000 homes. Is that a figure that's out of sync?
That's what I'm told.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance tonight. I know it's not easy to come to council regardless of your experience or lack of it when it comes to addressing politicians. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
The next delegation is Frank Krusel, benefits of Nanaimo Forest products in the area and amendments to bylaw 4500. Mr. Krusel, good evening. Welcome. Introduce yourself for the record.
Thank you, Mr.
You'll
Crowd. My name is Frank.
Sorry.
I want to get these 5 minutes in, you know.
I know, but I haven't started the clock yet.
I'm watching you.
I was just going to say, when you get to 4 minutes, I'll let you know you have a minute left. So please, thank you.
Okay. My name is Frank Krusel. I live on Pallades Drive in Ladysmith. I'm first and foremost a grandpa, a family man, a business leader, director and shareholder of NFP. My brother and I formed a company called F&M Installations in 1985. And for most of you know it as FMI, we operate south of the Nanaimo City Nanaimo welcome sign. There's a reason for that. FMI has been involved in major infrastructure projects across BC and Western Canada for 40 years. The last project was Site C Dam, which we played a major role and employed up to 450 workers, a lot of people from Nanaimo. And my son now owns the company. Mike and I are also major shareholders of the Samson Group, and we own a good chunk of Czech TV, another successful employee-owned group. NFP has 3 shareholder groups: the Samson Group, Levi and Ed, Wave Place Holdings, known to the public as Pioneer Log Homes. They're my cousins. You might know them as the Timber Kings. Actually, my brother and I are the principal shareholders of Wave Place, but preferred to remain out of the public image until now. And of course, there's the Harmac Employee Ownership Group, the best pulp makers in the world. So we came to be in 2008, my cousin Brian of Timber Kings called me and said, let's get involved in Harmac. And I said, this is a good plant, makes a good product that's used in the world markets. This is the best country in the world, and this is the best part of this country, and it brings the best people. Proof, some of the men and women sitting behind me. We need to continue diversification. Here's what we've done to diversify. We've electrical power generation, biomass generator, with $45 million investment. Yes, $45 million investment keeps the bell curve riding smooth when the pulp prices are down. We purchased Connexus chemical plant next door to the west. We cleaned up the land to the Ministry of Environment thing at the cost of $3 million. We have a shipping port that Coastland Veneer, Doug from CEO of Coastland Veneer, they lease the land and they bring us the residual fiber. We have North Star Propane, a bulk terminal in competition with Superior Propane. We had an agreement with High Tech to produce hydrogen, but it's not feasible. We are successful. Our crews are the best. Decisions are made at the board, not Victoria, Vancouver, LA, right here. Bruce and I are one of the 4 directors, and there's other 4 directors. 4 of the directors have been on the board for 17 years. In 1990, there were 23 pulp and paper machines off the coast, and now there's down to 6. Harmac represents over 30% of these still standing. A major portion of our fiber comes from Washington State. This government rather burn the forest down than properly manage them, but that's a subject for another time. We need this 200 acres of land rezoned to I-4 to continue our diversification. It was islanded by the city of Nanaimo. There was no road, only through Harmac. We started the rezone application in December 6, 2023, 2 years ago. By the way, city staff and politicians encouraged us to pursue this I-4 lands, and here we are 2 years later, nothing to show for it other than invoices from consultants. Maybe the Cable Bay Trail is the real story here. Now, council speaks to the waste to energy incinerators. There's no business case for waste to energy unless it's heavily subsidized by government. Petrochemical plants, get real. I mean, petrochemical on Vancouver Island, chemical plants, that's what Harmac does. That's how we break down the fiber, chemical plants. LNG, not a chance. You can't make LNG here, but there's a story about that. Ministry of Environment certainly does the cumulative effect of the air shed if we were to do something there. We meet all environmental terms. Our plans are for the long term, not decided overnight at the last minute. Paul, did you get up one morning and decide to amend the users on I-4? You had 2 years. Now you have staff to do a report they're not qualified to do, and their first comment was out to Harmac. Now we're appearing in front of council, so to speak, as firemen. You know, and the slide that Dr. Ricker sent on November 17th, I'd love to speak to that about Kitimat. The waste to energy, maybe someone will ask me, I don't know. We have at our disposal waste heat, effluent treatment, excess hot water, roads, deep sea port, and infrastructure. In my 17 years on the board, I've never seen any council members at our board meeting. Maybe we wouldn't be here tonight if this council asked what we are doing and what our future plans are. We may not give you all the answers, but communication works both ways. Look at the recent Crofton closure. Council praises MFP as a good news story, yet you're all causing us distractions. You got me off the couch inactive, lit a fire under me. This recent motion by council ties our hands and make good business. We need to make good decisions now. I beg you to rescind this motion.
Thank you very much.
Did I make it in 5 minutes? Had to talk fast, eh?
Second winner, Councillor Armstrong, please.
And again, Your Worship, 2 questions, if I may. The first one is you talked about expansion, and obviously we don't need to know publicly what your expansion plans are, but quite often with expansion, you're looking for loans or other investment. Would this motion make it far more difficult to get people on board to help you out with that?
You know, it's agricultural land right now. So we can't go out to the marketplace and say, come on aboard.
No, if it's rezoned, I apologize.
Oh, if it was rezoned?
Yeah.
We have a few things that we have planned, but I mean, I can't really speak to them. But what I can tell you, they'll use our wastewater, our hot water, effluent treatment, and some of our other services in the mill.
And then my second question is relating, we know with the Crofton mill shutting down, as your business expands, is there a place for you to take a role into what Crofton was doing, or do you know?
Would we get involved in Crofton?
Yeah, like is there an option like to take on some?
I'm going to speak real frank, not a bloody chance.
Okay.
You know, the morale down there is disgusting. The employer's driven things into the ground, and you got a situation where there's a hell of a lot of liabilities. When we got into Harmac, there's no liabilities on the workers' pension, no liabilities on holiday pays. It's a no-goer.
So this is a very good business model that's doing very well for the membership as well as for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thorpe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, if I may. Thank you, sir, for your presentation. You crammed a lot in 5 minutes there. Well done. I tried to follow you. And I'll indulge you because I'm also interested in a comment on the slide that council saw a couple of weeks ago regarding LNG and Kitimat. So can you please give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd love to. You know, when I watched that slide, it was from Dr. Ricker. Now, I can tell you that had to be a paid activist, because what she showed you was a flaring stack. Did any of you know that when you start up an LNG facility, you purge the system? That's a massive system. The stack flare is 100 times what the flare will be when it's operating. So you need to purge the system. She talked about Elcan. Elcan's no longer there. It's Rio Tinto. They spent $5 billion upgrading the plant. And Eurocan, she talked about Eurocan. There is no Eurocan there. That's where the LNG facility is. And did you know, up here behind Mount Hayes, everybody doesn't know it, that's the largest LNG storage facility in Western North America. They make LNG. They compress natural gas 600 times the volume of natural gas. So, and then they reroute it. They reroute it to Vancouver, to Washington State, all across the province. They buy it. It's called a peak shaving plant. When they started up, there was a flare. It's gone now, because you need to have the flare. You need to burn off the gas if there's an eruption with the facility, or if there's a startup commissioning thing. So that slide was a bit, the only thing I was missing on that slide really was a three-eyed fish and a burning raccoon. You know, really, I mean, come on, people, you know, we need to stick together as Canadians here, you know? I mean, these guys could build a commodity that's favored in China. You know, they buy it and they make tissues from it. You know, 1.4 million Chinese people, tissues. I mean, will it be here in 50 years now? I don't know. But we want to make sure we're diversified enough so it's here for the next 20.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Thorpe. Councillor Perino.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick question through you. I asked Mr. Martin this question, and I'll ask you, and I'm hoping you know the answer. So the environmental rules that you follow, are they by the province, and do you follow them?
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's what I needed to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, Mr. Crusill, for your presentation, and thank you for taking time to meet with me to discuss this. As I was really clear in the meeting, this is not about Harmac, it's not about Harmac's operations. But are you aware that we have a bilateral agreement with
Sorry, Councillor. Councillor, you'll have to repeat the question.
Hazardous waste import and export, and that okay, I was just asking whether Mr. Crusill is aware of the bilateral agreement Canada has with the United States for the import and export of hazardous waste, and that that could potentially, like, waste incinerators need a lot of garbage, so that would require garbage from Seattle and maybe, you know, Metro Vancouver to have an incinerator. Are you aware of that bilateral
I'm aware
agreement?
of it, but Mr. Manley, I'm going to answer your question. My little granddaughter, when we drive through Cedar, she said, "Grandpa, what's that smell out there?" And I said, "That's a garbage dump." "Why do they dump it there?" "Well, because they can." And she says, "Well, I don't like that." "Well, honey, the city of Nanaimo just rezoned a place called Sandstone. 1,500 houses going behind a garbage dump. So, Paul, I say to you this, we deal with it or it deals with us. Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think incineration is the way to deal with it. Would you, what do you think that can you guarantee that no other landowner at Duke Point will put up an incinerator to burn garbage for Metro Vancouver and Seattle?
I guess if I owned all the land, I'd say, yeah. No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I don't own all the land, but maybe that's what we'll do.
Okay. Do you think that the thousands of homeowners in Nanaimo who collectively own billions of dollars worth of property should have any kind of say over what kind of emissions that they breathe if they're...
Councillor Manley, with great respect, that is a rhetorical political question which I think is entirely inappropriate for a delegation.
Let me answer it.
This is not a political forum for you tonight, with great respect. Folks who have been disturbed by a motion made by this council have come forward to express their views. Ask them questions about that.
It's the intent of the motion is to stop garbage incinerators, so that is the question.
Mr. Manley, I live in this town. I mean, come on. Do you think I'm going to put a waste to a garbage incinerator in Nanaimo? And even if I did, it doesn't make financial a business model.
Yeah, no, I don't think Harmac is. I don't think Harmac is. The intent,
Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. I appreciate there's a delegation here. I appreciate there was a motion on the agenda, but we're here to ask questions and not have debate between delegation and council. Thanks.
My point. Councillor Gesselbrock.
Thanks, Mayor, through you. Thanks for the presentation. I guess the question, I think the motion was pretty broad and, you know, inclusion of chemical plants. I think in your presentation you mentioned that, you know, an LNG plant or petroleum refinery are pretty much out of the question. And then I think the largest concern is the waste to energy, the garbage incineration basically. And with opening up this new I-4 land, it's like agricultural right now. I just recall, and I think it was like 2014 when there was the Metro Van proposal to put an incinerator out at Duke Point, and it generated a huge amount of public outcry, and I think there was 14,000 signatures and protests, and eventually it caused the council to have to write retroactively to the province to get it shut down. And I think
Councillor Gesselbrock, again, please.
No, this is my question, is that out of all the concerns that you have with the motion, I mean, we are getting a staff report, is it basically the potential of limiting the biomass energy generation and the chemical plant? Are those the two main areas that you're mostly concerned about limiting for that potential I-4 property?
No, my concern is you're changing I-4 in the middle of the game. I mean, Harmac's been there 75 years. You make up new rules. Like I said, did Paul get up one morning going to change this? You know, I'm not into garbage incinerators, but when you think about garbage incinerators, they have them right downtown Vienna. I mean, they're not killing the people, but there's no talk of a garbage incinerator at Harmac, and it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make financial sense. So, but you know, you hear the word garbage and everybody just panics. But I don't know if I'm answering your question or not.
I was just curious, what are the main concerns, the limitation for Harmac on that land? The land currently isn't zoned I-4. It's currently AR1 or something like that, the 240 acres. And I think for that particular property, what are the biggest concerns for Harmac in terms of limiting its marketability? Is it around the LNG plants and the garbage incineration, or is it more around biomass, cogeneration, and the chemical plant?
No, it's around I-4 land. I mean, I don't know how much more clearer I could be. I mean, we need to decide what our business is going to be. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm putting a freaking garbage incinerator or a petrochemical thing. We're trying to do what we need to do, like we got waste heat, we got hot water, we got effluent treatment, etc. That's what we got, and that's what we're going to market. But when you say, oh, we got to do this and that, I mean, I'm just wondering where you're all coming from.
Yeah, likewise, I'm just wondering just specific concerns, but thank you.
But I do invite you as councillors and mayor to come out to the board, come to one of our board meetings, and we can communicate with you in a closed sessions what we have planned to do. But the offer is open.
Wonderful, thank you.
Mr. Crisell, one more. Councillor Hemmons, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Mr. Crisell, for coming tonight, and thank you for meeting with me last week. I enjoyed our conversation. I want to confirm that next step is that council will receive a report, and staff are going to interpret for us what Councillor Manley has proposed, which is site-specific zoning, potential for waste-to-energy incinerators, chemical plants, thermal, electrical generators. And I shared with you in our meeting that my background is in healthcare, and this is not my area of expertise, so I require staff's input when we're talking about zoning changes here. But I want to specifically address a question that you asked, as well as the previous delegation, and that's about rescinding the motion. We could have reconsidered it the meeting immediately after the motion was made, but rescinding it is no longer available. Reconsideration is no longer available. My understanding is that the report will come forward in Q2. Thank you.
Is that a question or?
No, that wasn't a question. Obviously, we've run out of questions tonight. Mr. Crisell,
I'm ready for more, Leonard.
nice to see you, but we have a fairly lengthy agenda.
I gotta say one thing. My friend Leonard, my 93-year-old friend, Leonard took care of him when he lost his wife, and the kindness cost nothing. So hear, hear. Thanks, Leonard.
No. Thank you. Thank you. All right. On to administrative reports. Feral rabbits in Nanaimo, Ms. Bhopal Singh.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the report you have before you today is an information report, and I think it's really important to emphasize that it's an information report with the intent to update Council on the feral rabbit situation in Nanaimo. And with me, I have Ms. Charlotte Davis, who is our Director of Parks Operations and Natural Areas, and she will be giving a brief overview of the report. And we acknowledge that our report has caused a lot of interest in the community. We know this is a sensitive topic, and we want to thank those who have been messaging us and assure them that as part of our operational process in the new year, as we work with our various partners mentioned in the report, we will also engage the variety of agencies, nonprofit, etc., who may be able to add to what we are currently doing to manage this in a good way. So without further ado, we have Ms. Davis to give you an overview. I also have Kirsty McDonald, who co-authored this report, who is our Manager of Parks Operations. And of course, we have Darcy Osborne, who's our Director of Parks, Recreation, Culture. And between all of us, we hope to answer any questions on this information report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bhopal Singh, and I want to emphasize what you've already stated, but I love grasping the obvious 2 or 3 times. We've received a number of pieces of correspondence. Council, I do not expect, nor will I welcome any motions on the report tonight. This is a chance to update Council and bring us the most current information about this situation, which is a growing problem, and that's it. So, over to the 3 of you. Ms. Davis.
Good evening, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council, and thank you very much for this opportunity to provide you with this update tonight. Within the report before you, there are 3 key takeaways, I think, that we really can focus in on. And the first one is the population of the feral rabbits is at a higher level now than it was before the outbreak of the rabbit hemorrhagic disease in 2018. We have a very high population of rabbits in our community that are visible in many different parks locations, primarily Beban Park and the Stadium District. The second key takeaway is the operational impact that this rabbit population is having on our operations. Holes in fields which create safety risks for our users. The certain infrastructure is being undermined at Rotary Bowl and through Beban, the VIX, for example, and also the opportunity cost. So this year, Kirsty McDonald, our Manager of Operations, managed to keep the cost of this cost neutral to our budget. But what that meant was Kirsty and team weren't doing other things. So we're having to divert labourers away from their duties maintaining turf fields and put them towards filling holes. And so that means that next year we've got a larger challenge ahead of us because we haven't had the same level of service on our fields, and therefore it is not sustainable to carry on in that way. And the third point is it's just around what's next. So we plan to continue to monitor the situation with the potential new outbreak of the rabbit hemorrhagic disease and look to expand our natural and deterrent management practices to new locations within parks. And there is, of course, always, as Ms. Bhopal Singh mentioned, more opportunity to do education and further partnerships as well. So, with a team approach, we're definitely guaranteed to have more success. And that's basically the overview for you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Eastmere.
Thank you. Through you, what management practices does the city currently employ? Do we, through animal control, do any kind of like trapping of rabbits currently?
I'm going to ask Ms. McDonald to answer that question, who's been dealing with it most closely. Thank you.
Ms. McDonald, please.
Through you, Your Worship. This year, we have used cougar urine and coyote urine and had partners place that around infrastructure that was most at risk. We've also been using other natural management techniques such as raptor pools, and there are several raptor pools throughout the community where we're encouraging natural predation. But those are the two main, those are the two natural forms that we have used this year for management.
So we don't do any other type of management other than those natural forms?
No.
Okay, thank you. I found that really interesting. And if another question, if I may, what would be the feasibility of enforcing a ban on the sale of rabbits on online platforms like Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace? Because our animal control bylaw does already prohibit the sale of rabbits by pet stores, and people aren't allowed to adopt out rabbits unless they're spayed or neutered. But could we expand that to online platforms?
Through the chair, if I might help our team out, I do believe that council, when you did the animal control bylaw, some of these parameters were looked at. And while I don't want to speak for Ms. Robertson, I might ask Ms. Gurry to speak some of the history around that when it comes to things like online, what all kinds of pets, cats in fact, might be considered feral by some as a non-native species. So I think there were some implications looked at. So we can certainly provide some of the rationale for that, why that wasn't included in the bylaw updates at the time. I do know Ms. Gurry, through the chair, if I might have Ms. Gurry provide a little bit of support on that. Thank you.
My apologies, Council, Ms. Bopalsing. I don't have those exact answers. I do know that it was looked at, the sales, the pet stores, et cetera, in the animal responsibility bylaw, and I can get back to you on that when we report back further on this issue and or respond to you in the future.
Thank you. I think that's helpful. It's certainly a question I've been hearing from the public a lot, and I think that it's really interesting to see the amount of public engagement. When I did share a post that this administrative report was coming forward, and I made it very clear that we didn't have a decision point, a lot of people came forward who are working in the rabbit rescue realm, like VI Fluffle, which is a local Vancouver Island-based organization that does education. If you're not familiar with the word Fluffle, that's what a group of bunnies is called. But they've actually held some events at Bevan Park focused on education. And then there's other organizations like Rabbitats and the Fur Bearers. So yes, it's all very cute, but we acknowledge that it's certainly a challenge and something that we might have to be more proactive about. So thanks for this information.
Thank you. In order, Councillors Perino, Armstrong, Emmons, and Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I'll just start by saying, given that you are using cougar and coyote urine to do some attraction, I'm impressed that you still have all your fingers. That's got to be a job. But what I'm asking about is, back in 2018, when the RHD disease certainly was as rampant as it was, and about 85% of the rabbit population died, is it time to recommend to pet owners that they have their rabbits vaccinated? Is that a point where we inform the public that it's time to make that move?
Through the chair, the ministry has put out a warning, it was on Halloween actually, that there was potential for the disease in the community. And we've been watching to see if there were any updates, and there hasn't been, but there may be the need, and that would be something that the ministry would be advising on.
Okay, great. So the general public, just to be able to watch for that, given what we know
Definitely.
Is out there, yes.
The province is monitoring it.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you. I couldn't find this on our bylaws, but maybe it's there. Is there a bylaw prohibiting people from feeding these? Because they're always up there feeding them up by the bank. And somebody said, oh, they're allowed, and I couldn't find where they're not allowed.
Yes, it is in contravention of our animal control bylaw to feed the feral rabbits.
Okay. And just to answer Councillor Eastmer's question, I recall the Craigslist thing, and one of the issues is because they do it as rehoming, so it's not sales, so they're allowed. And secondly, the other issue was that a lot of them you can't go after Craigslist because it's a platform not administered in the city.
Councillor Hemmons, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you very much for the report. I'm tempted to ask where we get the cougar urine, but I'm not going to. Would we know the hemorrhagic fever? Like, is that obvious? Is that visible? Bunnies would be dead, or okay. I was just kind of curious to hear that we used to have a working group that met regularly to talk about this, and that we haven't, but it seems like the disease is coming back, and I just want to make sure that that's something we're going to have eyes on if it comes quickly. Just a curiosity, with the RDN, we participate in a goose control program where we go in and, we contract someone, and they addle the eggs, they harvest the meat with Indigenous youth, and then they provide that meat to Indigenous communities. Is there any opportunity for something like that with the feral population?
Through the chair to Councillor Hemmons, I don't know, and I think that's something we could absolutely look into with our partnerships, with our future partnerships. As you've identified, it's been a while since the group has met, and I think at this stage now, with the population as high as it is, with so much going on right now, with the potential for the new rabbit hemorrhagic disease outbreak, we should be meeting again with our new potential partners from the community and looking at all kinds of solutions.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown, and Councillor Eastmer again, and Councillor Thorpe.
Thank you, Your Worship, and appreciate this information. I have noticed them the growing populations, and I've heard a few comments with respect to Bevin. So obviously appreciate the efforts and look forward to updates. But I will just say one comment. The very first horror movie I saw was The Night of the Killer Lepus. As a far too young boy. And when I read this report, it triggered back those memories. So if you come forward proposing a serum for anti-breeding to control the population, I will be a hard no. Thank you.
Councillor Eastmer.
Thank you. Through you, I just wanted to ask what this, you're talking about potentially meeting with community partners, like how might that look? Is that just a theoretical thing at this point, or are you actually going to be putting together some kind of like working group to better address the rabbit situation?
Through the chair to Councillor Eastmer, so the rabbit management strategy that we have was put together by our partners with VIU and the School District 68. Things have changed, and actually when that was put together, we were it wasn't under the Parks, Rec and Culture umbrella, which it is now, and we have a lot of community partners, some of whom have stepped forward to today. So I think we would like to make the most of their expertise and engage with them further in the new year to have some open dialogue about what's next. Yes, a working group, I think you might call it that. I don't know how formal we'll get. But,
So might we assume then people who have reached out and emailed council with the various organizations that have worked in this field, they might be invited to participate in this, or if people are interested in being part of this working group, how might they go about approaching the city?
those that have contacted us or those that will be engaged with, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, through the chair, if I might also add the response. So Ms. Davis, as the Deputy Director of Parks and Natural Areas, some of the techniques that we're using right now, we're monitoring for its effectiveness and partnering with the BMX group in particular to see how successful they are. So we know we may have to adapt if we do not see great effect. And with the various groups who've reached out to us who have different views and approaches, I think the key would be to work with our partners and engage with them, the other groups as well, to see if there's opportunity to try something other than what we've been doing with the Parks and Natural Area technicians. So I just wanted to explain that the experiment with the cougar urine and also raptors, we are monitoring its effectiveness. It's not like it's the only thing that we're open to using as part of our operations. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thorpe.
Oh, thank you very much, Your Worship, through you. So I think it's important to understand that we're dealing here with feral rabbits. These are wild rabbits that are out there. They're not somebody's pets in the house that we can ask to have inoculated against some disease. And as the report mentions, we had this problem back in 2018, and everybody was wringing their hands about rabbits everywhere. And amazingly, nature found a way of balancing the scales, and the problem went away. So I guess I don't get too excited about this unless it impedes activities of the city at the BMX track or soccer fields or something. But I did want to ask about something through you, Your Worship, because I didn't see it in the report, and my understanding perhaps is wrong, but I thought that feral rabbits as a non-native species were designated as wildlife under the Provincial Wildlife Act, and therefore come under provincial regulation. Could you comment on that? Am I wrong?
Ms. Davis.
Through the chair to Councillor Thorpe. No, you are correct. They are what considered wildlife. However, they are vermin or a pest, so we're able to deal with them that way, yes. Do you have anything further to say on that?
Ms. McDonald.
Just to add that we are in communication with the province, and we do have a liaison there that is any management techniques that we do use. We have a history of talking to them about that and making sure that what we do is consistent with current legislation.
All right, so the province has a role to play in this.
Oh, absolutely, and sets the regulations on how the rabbits may be managed, yes.
And sets the regulations on how we deal with them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, thank you very much. That clarifies things.
Thank you. Councillor Eastmere again.
Thank you. Have we responded to requests for signage to communicate to people that they shouldn't be dumping their pet rabbits? Because that is sort of part of where this issue originally comes from. Rabbits are one of, I think, the most abandoned pet because people think that they can just survive in the wild, and obviously here they can. So do we have any type of signage in areas where we notice like large rabbit populations? And then is there a component of our animal control bylaw that includes a fine for dumping rabbits?
Through the chair to Councillor Eastmere, I'm not aware of any of that signage in our community. I do believe that would fall under the purview of animal control through our bylaw team. It's definitely something that we could look into and may make sense. And yes, you may be fined if you abandon a bunny within our community.
Okay, thank you. And I think that the piece about the province is important, and the UBCM executive did end up passing a resolution. We didn't have a chance to debate at UBCM around asking the province to have more of a direct role in this. So perhaps communicating our findings to the province when we do a broader engagement about the needs that we have at the community level to better address this, because as you said, it is taking a huge amount of staff time to deal with maintaining the sports fields, especially, and the BMX track. Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciate your attendance tonight. We're moving from feral rabbits now to mobile food vending review and update. Mr. Holm, please.
Great, thank you, Your Worship. I'm just going to really briefly introduce this. We have a number of staff from different departments across the city represented here. They're going to present to council a review that we'd undertaken of the mobile food vending program, sometimes referred to as the food truck program. The program was established in 2016 and has grown in popularity. You'll hear some information about that. We'll start with, we have a number of representatives, as I mentioned, from information technology as well as parks operations. And we'll start with Heidi Davidson, manager of Permit Center and Business Licensing. And yeah, looking forward to hearing the presentation and taking questions from council if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. I'm here tonight along with my colleagues to showcase the food vending program, its history, evolution, and future.
If you could tip the mic a little more towards your, come in a little closer, thank you.
Better. Oh, it's not. Oh. Next slide. Sorry, having a slide issue. Ready to go?
That looks better.
Thank you. Before the current food vending program was initiated in 2016, vendors were limited to operating on private property as part of a special event, roaming, and as some of you may remember, the ice cream truck, or within parks via an RFP. This informal structure limited opportunities for vendors and growth of the industry. A formal food vending program launched in 2016, which introduced clear regulations, licensing fees, designated locations with a mix of first come, first serve, street locations, and scheduled bookings in parks. This slide illustrates the steady growth of the popularity of the program. Although slow to start at the beginning, and other than a decrease in vendors during the COVID year, the number of licensed food vendors has steadily increased. In addition to increasing number of vendors, food vendor initiated and food vending specific events are gaining popularity. Industry growth is anticipated to continue. Increased popularity and growth, however, present challenges for vendors with regard to securing popular locations and for staff who are engaged in maintaining parks or enforcing parking rules or other bylaws. To support sustainable growth of the industry and to address challenges, a consultant was engaged to assess current regulations and locations and provide suggestions for improvement. The review recommended updating the business license bylaw to provide a clear regulatory framework, creating an operator guidebook that could be used as reference and resource for staff and vendors, a comprehensive review of fees and fines, and planning for future expansion in parks and streets in coordination with anticipated park and road upgrades. Improvements to date include one new bookable on-street location, improved and additional park locations and amenities, and an online vendor booking calendar, both of which will be covered by my colleagues. At this point, I'd like to pass the presentation to my colleague, Kirsten McDonald, to share park improvements to date.
Ms. McDonald, please. Thank you, Ms. Davidson.
So I'm just going to highlight a couple of things you might have noticed out in the community that are infrastructure really to support both special events and the mobile food vendors. So first off, if you're in Maffeo Sutton Park, there's a lot of hidden infrastructure underground as well as on the surface. Under the Spirit Square is actually a spaghetti of electrical wires and potable water. And actually, when the Spirit Square was installed in around 15 years ago, the food vendors actually needed potable water. So there's a lot of amenities that were built very uniquely in that park to support food services. You may have noticed this year that we've also increased the number of vendors in the park from 6 to 10, and along with that, we've tried to enforce some locations where there's official locations they park, and you can see them noted where the number 1 and the L is just to show how we're guiding the growing food services to how they should behave and how they can use the parks. This just shows the kind of support services that Park Operations has put in this year to help make sure that the vendors are in the locations we want, where they're not going to be hitting street trees, damaging infrastructure, and also allowing emergency vehicles to navigate through the park. Also at Departure Bay, you might have noticed some new infrastructure to support 3 vendors along the waterfront walkway, including improved signage to help with parking conflicts with the vendors, and also electrical infrastructure. We're now offering 3 spring and summer locations and only 1 winter location. So if you've been there recently, there has been use of the middle location throughout the winter months as well. Also at Westwood Lake, there are 2 purpose-built new vendor locations at First Beach with new electrical infrastructure, as well as we piloted a location at Second Beach over the summer, and it was quite successful. There's also there's a number of locations in the current bylaw that allow generators and self-generating mobile vendors to use them. This is just a sample of the many that you probably have seen throughout the community, and they're gaining popularity. And just looking towards the future, as a collaborative team, as you can see with many departments being reflected here, we're looking at working more together and collaborating strategically. Also working with our special event and tourism partners to have food vending collaborations, and I'm going to be passing it on to our IT department, but also looking at tech-enhanced and interactive apps and other modern ways that we can collaborate with the food industry.
Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. My name is Vasily Kontor. I work as a part of the application support team at the City of Nanaimo, and I'm here to present to you the upgrade that we've done to the food truck application. One of the tasks that City of Nanaimo has is to manage food trucks. Business licensing department controls and advertises the spots and the time slots that are available for food trucks to sell their food. In the past, the process was done with email and a system managed by the city. On the first business day of each month at 8 a.m., the trucks emailed business licensing directly to make bookings for the next month. It would take 4 full days of work split between 2 city employees to process the emails and to fill the calendar. The truck owners could only submit changes during business hours since they have to be added to the calendar manually. The calendar was available to the citizens, was clunky and hard to read, especially on mobile devices. Our goal was to modernize this process and introduce an application that would help all 3 parties involved. For staff to save time, for trucks to make the booking process standardized, fast, and available 24/7, and for the Nanaimo citizens, add a more interactive and informative experience when looking for food. The modern food trucks application has met this goal, implemented with 3 flows. The administration portal for the city employees to control the spots, the trucks, and the schedule, the truck portal for the truck owners to schedule their time on the spots, and the publicly accessible page with the map of the city, with the truck's location, and the schedule of the trucks. Today I'll be showing the truck portal and the publicly accessible page. The improved truck portal provides the truck owners 2 main functions: create new bookings on city-provided spots and manage the existing bookings. The booking process is as simple as possible. The owner selects a spot, checks the existing schedule on it, and if they are happy with the selection, they select the date and the time for the booking and submit it. Any existing booking can be easily verified on the calendar and on the map, or adjusted at any point before or during the booking. All this functionality is available to the truck owners 24/7 and is run automatically by the application with little to no intervention from the city staff. The public page for the citizens contains 2 main components: the calendar and the map. The calendar displays today's food trucks by default, but it can be adjusted to any future date or to any specific truck or park if the user has any favorites. All the filtered results appear on the map with a precise location of the truck, so it's easy to find. The owners can also submit a link to their menu so that the user can check it out ahead of time. We have released the new version of the food trucks application in late July, and since then the application has been working without any major issues. The application gets an average of 6,000 views from 1,300 visitors per month, of which 36 are truck owners who make an average of 500 bookings per month. Since this application was launched, the staff time devoted to food trucks management has been reduced from an average of 4 working days per month to 4 hours per month. Overall, the application upgrade has been a success, a great learning experience for me and the application support team, and we're looking forward to providing more meaningful and impactful upgrades to the city assets like this.
Thank you, Vasily. In preparing this presentation, I solicited the vendors to submit their favorite photos. I'd like to close by presenting their photos to you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Armstrong's going to lead us out of the gate.
When I met with a group of the food truck drivers, there was some concern about not having as many places. Did you look at, and I did email all the ones they sent to us, did you look at the Island Highway up by where the old tourist bureau was as an option? Because that was highly indicated by a lot of the food truck drivers as a spot that would be a nice place to be.
Yes, we did. Unfortunately, I think there's something in the highway regulations bylaw that prohibits that. I do remember researching this. I can't
That's fine,
remember the
yeah.
details.
And then my second question is, when you look at the list on page 10, are those the only city streets? Because I know that there's food trucks out on other city streets, like by the hospital, they're up at Mary Bennett Park. Are those legal, or they just don't show up on the list?
For the on-street booking, for the on-street locations, they're on a first-come, first-served basis. So all along Dufferin, there is also a location on Mon Road, close to the ferry terminal. And there's some that were in the downtown core that have been displaced because of development.
Thank you. And thank you very much for this. I know it was being asked for by the food truck people for a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thorpe, then Councillor Perino.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, through you, if I may, to staff. Thank you for being here. I confess to remembering in 2016 when Council brought in the food truck bylaw originally, and it was at that time very innovative and something quite new, and Mr. Harding spent a lot of work with staff developing that. I'm pleased to see it's really been so successful, and the growth in the numbers of the vendors is quite staggering. Unfortunately, I'm sure we're challenged with the growth in available spaces for those people to use and to maintain a fairness of opportunity for them. So I'm going to be fully supportive of the recommendation when we get to that, Your Worship. But I did have one question, and maybe I just missed it, but in your recommendation under number 1, it says creating a new section that allows directors to approve new food vending locations. Who are the directors that you're referencing? Are those staff directors, or is it
Yes.
councillors? I just didn't see that.
Sorry, through your worship. It'd be staff directors, director of parks, and if it's a street location, director of transportation.
All right, that was my assumption, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Perino.
Thank you, Your Worship, and a question through you. This is exciting news. Well done. I think it's. I think this is excellent. I'm just wondering, is it Island Health who takes care of the food security, making sure that the truck itself is up to where it needs to be to produce food to the quality that is required?
Yes, food vendors have to apply each year for a business license.
Okay.
And in renewing their license, we ensure that VHA is still current.
Okay, and it's checked regularly through them?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not seeing any further questions on this. We do have a recommended motion. Moved Councillor Thorpe, seconded Councillor Brown. Discussion on this? Councillor Eastmere?
Pardon me, if I could just ask one more question through you. I have heard from some folks who are interested in setting up a mobile not a food truck necessarily, but something that would run out of a container, like a shipping container. And there's some places like in larger cities like Vancouver or Victoria that offer like vending out of something like that. Would that meet our current like food truck program at all, or would that be like a completely separate sort of thing that we would have to
If
assist
it's
with?
stationary, it would be under another regulation. Currently, we're only licensing mobile vendors.
Okay, and we don't have anything currently that fits that kind of description in Nanaimo?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Himmons.
Thank you, Your Worship. Happy to support. Really great to hear about the technology improvements. 4 days to 4 hours, that's significant. Also, just the growth and the success of the program, it's really nice to see. Thank you. Happy to support.
Very good. I'm not seeing any further discussion. Motion's on the table. All those in favor and any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much, the three of you. Appreciate it. The next is the Inter-Community Business License Agreement and Bylaw. Mr. Holm, please.
Thank you again, Your Worship. I'll just do a really brief introduction. I think the report speaks to what's proposed very well and clearly, and Ms. Davidson's here as well to answer questions. What's proposed is an update to the Inter-Community Business License framework, I guess a bylaw and agreement that's currently in place. So an update to that. This is a unified framework for mobile businesses. This would apply to Nanaimo businesses, and it allows them to operate island-wide throughout a number of different communities. A number of communities listed in the report would be signing up to this same bylaw, same agreement, same framework. So ensuring that there's, for mobile businesses, there's simplicity in licensing and consistency in regulations and fees, as well as improved compliance and enforcement. So it really helps mobile businesses to work amongst island communities, and supports the business community and provides services to residents and ensures fairness and consistency. Happy to take questions, and Ms. Davidson's here as well. Thank you.
Sometimes you get a good news story and nobody wants to ask questions. Actually, it's Councillor Brown. It's
I'll move the first one.
move the first motion, seconded Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None.
And then I would move that Intercommunity Business License Bylaw 2025, number 7435, a bylaw to establish a scheme for intercommunity licensing and regulation of trades, occupations, and businesses, pass first reading.
Seconded Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Councillor Brown.
I would move Intercommunity Business License Bylaw 2025, number 7435, pass second reading.
Seconded Councillor Thorpe. Any discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Carried.
And finally, I'd move Intercommunity Business License Bylaw 2025, number 7435, pass third reading.
Seconded Councillor Hemmons. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much, the two of you. The next is 2026-2030 Financial Plan Bylaw. Ms. Mercer, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this report will introduce the 2026 to 2030 Provisional Financial Plan Bylaw for first three readings. So the draft financial plan was presented to Council at the budget sessions in November and December, and has been updated with changes that Council approved at those sessions. So the projected property tax increase for 2026 is 6.3%, and that's a 1% increase for asset management and a 5.3% for a general property tax increase. The projected 2026 user rate increases are 5% for water, 4% for sewer, and sanitation is 5%. This means that the projected impact on a typical home in Nanaimo, valued at $787,743, will be an increase of $195 for municipal taxes, or $239 when you include taxes and all user fees. Over the coming months, the finance staff will work on updating the financial plan with changes to estimates and any additions Council makes. The final financial plan will must be adopted before May 15th, and staff will be back probably in April to provide council with an opportunity to review and amend the bylaw at that time. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mercer. Councillor Perino?
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to ask Ms. Mercer where we were at. We're still sitting at 6.3, is that correct?
That is correct, through your
Thank
worship,
you.
yes.
Thank you. Councillor Brown, please.
Your Worship, I would move that Financial Plan Bylaw 2025, number 7436, to confirm and adopt the 2026 to 2030 Financial Plan, pass first reading.
Seconded, Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
I would move Financial Plan Bylaw 2025, number 7436, pass second reading.
Seconded, Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
And I would move Financial Plan Bylaw 2025, number 7436, pass third reading.
Seconded, Councillor Hemmons. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much. The next is Fees and Charges Housekeeping Amendment Bylaw. Ms. Gurry, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had the report up and then I put it away for this one. So the report before you and the bylaw before you is an amendment, housekeeping amendments to the cemetery fees portion of Fees and Charges Bylaw 2021, number 7336, along with other minor housekeeping amendments as needed. Sometimes there are housekeeping amendments needed, so I'd be happy to answer any questions, but the amendments and housekeeping amendments are laid out in the report.
I'm not seeing any questions. We've all had a chance to read the material. Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would move that Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 7336.14, housekeeping amendments, pass first reading.
Seconded, Councillor Armstrong. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
And I would move that Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 7336.14, pass second reading.
Seconded, Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
And I would move that Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 7336.14, pass third reading.
Seconded, Councillor Hemmons. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. We are now on to item 12, development reports. And the first, item A, development variance permit number DVP 487-5100, Fillinger Crescent. Mr. Holm, you're going to introduce this, and then we have a delegation, I believe.
Great. Thank you, Your Worship. I wasn't planning on doing too much of an introduction, just to say that a variance is requested and notification has taken place. Happy to take questions if council has any. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I understand we have Rusty Irish. Mr. Irish, good evening. You've been sitting here a long time, so I think you know the drill as a delegation now. 5 minutes, and when there's a minute left, I'll let you know.
All right, and we have, just so that I'm aware, do I have to do anything to move the slides?
You're in control. So introduce yourself and I'll start the clock.
My name's Russ Irish. I live at 5100 Fillinger Crescent. Good evening, Mayor and Council. And thank you for taking the time to review our application on the burning issue of our fence site. Let me start by giving you background and context. My wife and I have lived in Nanaimo for 22 years and raised our kids here. We bought this property 14 years ago with plans to renovate when we retired. The original house was rented for 10 years before we decided to rebuild. The existing foundation didn't work with our plans, so we sold the place to Nickel Brothers for $1. $1, yeah. And they moved it to Gabriel Island, so it's now a new family home. It's not in the landfill, so that's a win-win.
The donut economy salutes you, sir.
Sorry?
The donut economy salutes you, sir.
So here's a picture of the property taken from Fillinger Crescent before we moved. There's a big cypress tree on either side of the driveway and a scruffy cedar hedge that doubled as a lunch stand for the local deer. The hedge sits on top of a dry stack retaining wall that was crumbling. All of this had to go to make room for this move. We lost our privacy. Here's the current air photo. I think it was taken last May. It shows the new house and the landscaping in progress. This photo also gives you a good view of the beach access road allowance to the east of our home. Most of the road allowance is gravel. There's a narrow paved pathway down to the waterfront that's directly in front of our house. It's a lovely spot. The combination of road allowance and foreshore is advertised on the city's website as a park, although it's really only a road access and foreshore. It becomes more popular every year. That's what, I took this picture a couple of days ago. I've replaced the dry stack wall with a textured concrete retaining wall. I cast brackets on the top of the wall to hold fence posts in anticipation of variance approval. We plan to leave the cedar unfinished and it'll weather gray. The temporary fence you see there was put up to keep the deer out when we poured our driveway. We've got a vegetable garden in the back. We've got a bit of a problem with deer. Okay. This is not unusual for us to see, a dozen vehicles parked right next to our house, people that are using the beach. It's really popular. I took this picture last summer during the herring spawn. The place was overrun with fishermen. There were 14 cars in the photo. As you can see, our property's on the left there. We're living in a fishbowl. All that said, the park, as we call it, is popular. It's used by people of all shapes and descriptions. Dog walkers, swimmers, families, scuba classes, school classes, fishermen, kayakers, paddleboarders, and scuba divers. Also, late-night drunkards and dope smokers. All that said, for the most part, the people who use the beach are quiet and respectful, and in some cases, quite entertaining. I'd tell you some good stories if we only had the time.
Watching the submarine races, were they?
There's a bit of that goes on. I don't knock on those windows, yes. Community support. So we thought it might be helpful for you if we gauged public support for this non-conforming fence of ours.
1 minute.
So we put up a notice board last summer. We got 57 letters, all in support with 72 signatures. I heard one dissenting voice. There's a lady that lives locally. She's a bird watcher. She was concerned that the fence would block the view of the birds in our trees. In closing, I'd like to ask you to please grant us a variance so that we can complete our landscaping, which I think will enhance the look of the adjacent public space as well as give us some privacy in this very busy location. All the best for the holiday season, and thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Irish.
Did I make the time?
You certainly did. You've got 16 seconds left.
Okay. For any questions on this burning issue?
I'm not seeing any questions, sir. I'm sure someone's going to move the recommended motion. Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Perino. Any discussion? Not seeing any.
Your Worship, I'm sorry. Was there anyone else here that was wishing to speak to that issue?
Oh, sorry, yes. It's requested that we hear from anyone else wishing to speak to development variance permit application number DVP 487-5100 Fillinger Crescent. No, it appears your neighbors love you. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Good fences make good neighbors. Councillor Thorpe probably taught that poem when he was a teacher. Yes, Robert Frost. Yes. The next is liquor license amendment application number LA 164-2367 Arbit Road. We just hear the motion, right? So moved, Councillor Armstrong, seconded Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. And so item C, development permit number Development permit number DP 1398-380 and 385 Watfield Avenue. Moved Councillor Hemmons, seconded Councillor Armstrong. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Let's get on with the bylaws. Councillor Brown, please.
Your Worship, I would move that Sewer Regulation and Charge Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 2496.39 be adopted.
Seconded Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
I would move that Waterworks Rate and Regulation Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 7004.23 be adopted.
Seconded Councillor Hemmons. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
I would move that User Fee Subsidy Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 7095.07 be adopted.
Seconded Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
I would move Southwest Bulk Water Rate Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 7099.14 be adopted.
Seconded Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
I would move that Municipal Solid Waste Collection Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 728.17 be adopted.
Seconded Councillor Armstrong. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
And I would move that Miscellaneous Bylaw Repeal Bylaw 2025, number 7434 be adopted.
Seconded Councillor Hemmons. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. We have no correspondence. We're a minute shy of 9 o'clock. I suggest we take the break now, Ms. Gurry. Won't offend anyone. 10 minutes, and then we'll be back to deal with the notices of motion and other business.
That's your mashed potatoes.
No, that's brumotactylophobia.
You lost me.
Recycling contamination happens when things that can't be recycled end up in your blue cart.
Oh, like Brussels sprouts.
No, I'm talking about recyclables, like packing foam or glass.
And the first item under notices of motion, Councillor Manley is giving notice of motion, the four-pillar approach. And that's for hearing at a further date. We don't have to read it. Councillor Manley doesn't have to read it out, Ms. Gurry.
No, Your Worship, he doesn't have to. He's just providing notice for discussion at a future meeting.
Thank you very much. We're on to other business, and the first is consideration of deferred motion, Councillor Gesselbrock motion re-amendment to the Manufactured Home Community Relocation and Assistance Policy, which was deferred from the December 1st regular council meeting. We do have a delegation. Mr. Snyder, please. You've been often enough. You know the drill. Introduce yourself for the record. 5 minutes, and there's a minute left. I'll let you know. Please, if you could introduce yourself, we'll commence.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, councillors and mayor. I am Brian Snyder. This is my 5th appearance before you, beginning in November 2021, advocating on behalf of manufactured home communities as an essential component of affordable housing in our city. During the past 5 years, I observed the council's interactions on several, I've got a little, it's there, good. Thank you. I wondered where it was. Council's interactions on several occasions. I've seen a strong commitment to our citizens, evident in concern for homelessness and drug dependency, concern for crime and safety, concern for individual health of citizens and effects of pollution, balancing growth with services and taxes, designing efficient transportation around our city, and I guess after today I can add bunnies to that list. In all of these issues, I see empathy, compassion, understanding, and at times real passion expressed. You care about our city and our citizens. But on this policy, protecting manufactured homeowners and their families when their homes are taken away from them, more of your empathy, compassion, understanding is needed. Excuse me. Let me explain why. If you ever contemplated moving to a new home, you probably considered and thought about it for weeks, months, even years to arrive at a decision. To accomplish your move, you will have to plan and work with many businesses such as realtors, banks, lawyers, moving companies, home insurance, change your addresses, et cetera, et cetera. All this adds additional time and effort to your daily life. But worth it. You are free to choose the best home available to improve your family's living arrangements and lifestyle opportunities. Now contrast that with the opportunity for me, one of 1,600 plus manufactured home community homeowners in Nanaimo. You are well aware of our demographics. We're seniors, mostly many of over 80 years of age. We are on limited monthly incomes, mostly pensions. We enjoy a level entry home and land to look after and enjoy. The average assessed value of our homes is below $250,000. And we all agree that the majority of these homes will not be moved. I do not choose to move, but someone chooses for me. The day arrives. Good morning, Mr. Snyder. My name is Mr. M.A.D. Volper. I'm taking possession of your home, and you have 24 months to vacate your my property. Here's your official eviction notice and a check for $67,500. You get the rest of your money when you leave my property. Stress, anxiety, and worry have entered my life. This is not a lifestyle change I have chosen. I have no plan to accomplish this. I have limited time to make it happen. I have limited funds to work with. What am I going to do? I will have to go through the exact same steps you did in choosing to make a lifestyle change, only one I am not free to choose and have never considered or wanted. Where will I go? Well, there are several options open to me, but they all come with some constraints or barriers. My best possible may be to purchase a condo. Royal LePage estimates the average price for a condo in Nanaimo is now $470,000, and they'll vary from $400,000 to $500,000 depending on location. The document included with your delegation information package titled Major Cost Factors in Moving to a New Home provides a detailed breakdown of costs associated with the move from a manufactured home community home assessed at $250,000 to a condo purchased for $450,000. How will this impact me? Moving from a $250,000 home to a $450,000 condo increases my monthly costs by over $1,000. Will I be able to afford this? Will I be able to pass the mortgage stress test and qualify for financing? Can I make a down payment? Do I have the health and strength to plan a move? A move that you, at a much younger age, probably found to be stressful, time-consuming, and filled with unanticipated difficulties and setbacks. So, if you believe a landowner or developer may struggle with the viability of a project on a former manufactured home site because they are paying the evicted owners a small portion of their compensation a bit earlier than your present policy requires, ask yourselves, who are you representing in this situation? The unfortunate developer who doesn't get to profit quite as much, or your citizens who are displaced and scrambling to find somewhere new to live? Helping families with just an adequate compensation will make very little difference to the developer's profits. So, in considering Councillor Gieselbrecht's amendment to increase the initial payment for manufactured home community homeowners, consider the very best you can do.
1 minute.
Thank you. Consider compassion for the loss of their home, empathy for the challenges they face, and understand their limited financial situations. The best amendment, with the most compassion, empathy, and understanding, will be to provide full payment of 100% of the assessed home value to the homeowner within 90 days of the rezoning approval. Anything else leaves the homeowners facing an extremely stressful and difficult task over many months to find a suitable replacement home or accommodation they can readily afford. Thank you for caring for all our citizens in our city.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the delegation? Councillor Gesselbrock?
Thank you, Mayor, through you. So just in your presentation, the ideal would be that 100% of the buyout amount be paid immediately. Was that what you?
Well, that would be my preference. I should suggest 90 days, but
90 days, okay, within 90 days, okay. The motion, from correspondence
Yeah.
upheld, and,
I'm
what
supporting.
I found the most, reasonable compromise that would be, possible, would be an additional 25% of the payment, made within 180 days of the rezoning approval. So you get the first 25% as per our current bylaw, and that, with nothing else, will that make a difference for people to be able to move on with their lives, and, for down payments and a sufficient amount of that buyout in a reasonable amount of time to start making
I don't
decisions?
think anything could really make a significant difference. We're going to be stressed. We're going to have a difficult time planning. We're going to have a difficult time finding somewhere to go to. If you take that condo, $450,000, you're going to need what, $85,000, $90,000 down payment. I'm going to get $67,000 and then another $67,000 180 days later. It doesn't give me plans to flexible and go and find something, right? I'm still kind of stuck. So what I said was 4 weeks ago, just give the homeowners the opportunity to plan and do something with their lives. They have to leave. Let them choose how to do it. There's one thing, if I may, which might be of interest to
In response to
Oh,
Councillor
sorry.
Brock's question, I trust this
Oh,
isn't
sorry.
going to be a debate, so.
Yeah.
Is this in response to Councillor Gesselbrock's question? No, all right. Councillor Perino and then Councillor Armstrong.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I'd be interested in what you were just about to say. And my question was similar to Councillor Gesselbrock's, but I first of all just wanted to thank you for coming back. I know it's an inconvenience for you to be here tonight. We didn't have any energy left to even discuss it the last time, but I just want to say thank you so much for being here again tonight. The only thing that I struggle with in this whole discussion is every person who rents goes through this from time to time. Should their landlord decide to sell, renovate, whatever the circumstances is, and every renter has to go through having to readjust too. So it's not just the homeowners that you're talking about. It's a wide variety of people who are affected, and I appreciate that you brought this back. Thank you.
But you raise an important issue. We are homeowners, and this is not recognized in the legislation at all.
Yeah.
And then for you get treated differently as opposed to that. And it's a little bit different when you're renting an apartment. I think someone rents here. Thank you. You haven't got an investment in the land, in the home itself.
That's right.
Therefore, the landlord says, okay, well, I need it for something else. I don't think that's very nice either, but that's
Yes.
what it is at the
It's a good point, though. Very good
Yeah.
point. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you. Is there anything further you think this council or this council could do to assist with this? I know one thing I often wish is that the provincial government would buy these when they come up for sale and then be the landlord, but obviously they're not doing that. Is there anything further you think we could do to help you with, because it's going to happen in our community where they're going to be sold?
I think when the moment comes, when a application comes before the council to rezone a manufactured home community, that you take it very seriously and look into the lives of those people and see what may transpire to them, and that may impact how you actually do something.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for the delegation? I'm not seeing any.
With the permission of the council and the mayor, may I just add a little supplemental something that's slightly different? It's not on this topic.
Mr. Snyder, you stated it yourself. You have been through in front of council several times. We debated this matter some weeks ago. Councillor Gesselbrock chose to bring forward a motion to amend what council had already approved. No, I'm not going to. And you have sent us all a fair bit of material, which we have all read. So thank you. No, if there's no
This is
further
something-
questions.
It's nothing to do with that. It's something separate.
Well,
It's to do with your council, with you.
thank you. Thank you. No.
All right.
All right. The
I'll send
issue
it to
is
you.
debate now.
Thank you.
Councillor Gesselbrock, I assume you want to say something?
I'd like to move the motion.
The motion was moved and seconded last time, wasn't it? Ms. Gurry?
It was moved and seconded, and then it was deferred, so to
Yes.
this meeting, so.
It's on the floor. Oh, goodness, I actually know what I'm doing for once.
Great, thank you. If I could speak to it, I think this is a very reasonable middle ground. I think when I did the amendment earlier on, when it first came forward, the GPC, it was the earlier payment was tied with doubling the value, and in the debate that didn't seem reasonable, but I think having a payment come earlier of 50%, it allows for the homeowner enough to be able to make decisions and a move, and they're not sort of stuck in this limbo. And I think that we need to take it really seriously. You know, the large majority of these folks are quite advanced in age, and it's very difficult, and I think they deserve some greater security when, you know, when this does happen, the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Thanks, Your Worship. I'll support what's on the floor. It's not the only factor, but if you're making a mortgage, it's the down payment, I believe, is 5% on the first value up to 500,000, and 10% plus. So I think there is options within the math of that. So I'll happily support what's on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this? I will just offer this comment only. We debated this at length some time ago, a month ago. Council had the benefit of a staff report that had worked very hard in conjunction with the affected community. I see no reason to change that policy at the present time. It can always be changed at some date in the future. So the motion is on the floor. All those in favor? Councillors Armstrong, Eastmere, Gesselbrock, Hemmens, Perino, and Brown, and those opposed, Mayor Krogh and Councillor Thorpe. Motion carries. Thank you. The next is Councillor.
Your Worship, I voted in favor.
Sorry?
I told her. I voted in favor.
Yes, thank you. The next motion is Councillor Brown. Motion read Council Policy Housekeeping. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would move the motion in the agenda package, and if there's a seconder, I'll speak to it.
Seconded, Councillor Hemmens. Discussion?
Thanks, Your Worship. Trying to sneak in probably the most mundane notice of motion for the year here at our last meeting. But essentially, these are two policies that have been adopted by Council. The first, the governance protocol policy, was I think adopted in a time with intentions that aren't fully articulated within the policy. In particular, there's two aspects of it that I think are problematic, but also they're just simply not practiced, and this is one that I've wanted to remove for some time. The first was this conceived portfolio system that essentially, I would say, was blurring the lines properly between governance and operations, and attempting to stick council too far into the proper business of staff. The second intention of the policy is I think it was really meant to put limits on the powers of the mayor with respect to fulfilling his or her duties out there in the community. And so I think for those reasons it should just simply be removed. But I think secondary to that, and probably just in practice, it's never been followed by council since, and rightfully so. The second one is the amendments, it's a policy for achievements by individuals. After talking with staff, it's just like an outdated policy that, again, no real practice to it. You'll notice $5,000 earmarked in 1980, never been updated. So I think there's lots of other ways in which we're honoring achievements of individuals. So that policy is just out of date and needs to be removed. Both of these were vetted by Ms. Gurry and Mr. Lindsay before I put the motion forward for council's consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. And finally, Councillor Armstrong, motion read dry supportive housing. We do have a delegation. Mr. Givondo, nice to see you. I might say on a personal level, missed you at the 125th anniversary of the Cavalotti Lodge, given your family's long history.
Right.
If you could introduce yourself for the record, 5
Yes,
minutes. And when
Your
this-
Worship, members of
you know.
council, my name is Peter Javando, and I'm here this evening on behalf of the Newcastle Community Association. And I'm speaking with respect to the motion that we're dealing with right now. On its website, BC Housing states that the purpose of the new facility at 250 Terminal will be to provide housing for those who are homeless or are at risk of becoming homeless. This means that eligible residents of 250 will include not only those homeless who suffer from addiction, but also those who are recovering addicts and those who have never used drugs, but for financial reasons have become homeless. Now, the interests of these different categories of individuals are not necessarily the same, and in fact may conflict. It does not, for example, make sense for a recovering addict to be tempted by the drug use of his neighbor in the next room, and it makes even less sense for someone who has never used drugs to be housed in an environment in which open drug use is permitted. It appears that this fact is finally being acknowledged by the provincial government. In November, it was announced that a dry supportive housing facility would be set up in Victoria. In her statement announcing this new facility, Ms. Boyle, the Minister of Housing, stated that there was, quote, an urgent need in Victoria to support the housing needs for people well on the way in their recovery journey. This announcement was welcomed by Mayor Alto, who in her statement said that dry housing played a, quote, critical role in recovery. The question then arises as to why Victoria should have dry housing and not Nanaimo. We have the same urgent need and demand for it here, and that demand is not limited to only recovering addicts, but also includes non-drug users. This fact is demonstrated by 3 tragic accidents that occurred recently over a 3-day period in Nanaimo. On December 8th, there was a fire in an RV that was parked on Craig Street. The homeless person living inside suffered burns and was hospitalized. On December 10th, there was another fire. This one occurred on Dover Road. 2 homeless men in their 60s were living in a camper. The camper's propane heater tipped over, causing a fire. The 2 men initially escaped, but one went back into the camper to rescue his dog. That man died. The other man experienced burns and was taken to hospital. The 3rd accident occurred on December 9th on the South Forks Road. On this occasion, a homeless 69-year-old man was living in an RV which caught fire. This fire was also caused by a propane heater. The man was severely burned, and he was airlifted to Victoria Hospital. His daughter was interviewed by the Nanaimo Bulletin and said that until his health gave way, her father has spent his whole life working in the construction industry. She said that he was not a substance abuser and that prior to the accident, she and her father had spent hours in discussions with various agencies, including BC Housing, trying to find him suitable accommodation. She ended by making the following statement. He's 69 years old and he was just trying to live. All he was trying to do was not get his home taken away from him. The government and society failed him. He worked so hard his entire life. These 3 incidents make it very clear that there is a need for dry housing in Nanaimo, not only for recovering addicts, but also for many other homeless in our community who are not substance abusers.
1 minute.
Many of these other homeless individuals, like the one in the case above, are seniors. The Newcastle Community Association strongly supports the motion before you this evening, and we very much appreciate the efforts of Council on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Under time, too. At this time of night, much appreciated. We do have a couple questions, though, I think. Councillor Brown and then Councillor Armstrong. Sorry, left over. Councillor Armstrong.
Just to do the motion.
Aren't we going to ask poor Mr. Javando, who's stayed here all night?
Okay, I'll ask him a question
All
then,
right.
if you want.
No, it's all right. Just make the motion, make the
Yeah,
motion.
so my motion is that the mayor, on behalf of council, write a letter to Minister Boyle and BC Housing requesting reconsideration for designating 250 Terminal for dry supportive housing units in light of the recent announcement of recovery-oriented housing at 1153 Johnson Street in Victoria, and with consideration for the large number of homeless people in recovery or homeless through financial reasons who are in desperate need of housing. And we'll speak to that in a second.
Seconded, Councillor Perino.
I'll just say I've worked with Newcastle Association since I think around 2017, 2018.
You can sit down, Mr. Uvando,
Yeah.
please.
2018 on this, and this has been top of my list. That's the reason why I haven't recently voted for any supportive housing units, because I believe there's a desperate need for dry housing. We've heard stories of people that are sent over to detox to Vancouver. They spend the 2 weeks there, they come back, and then they're put in Newcastle or Nokia, and it doesn't work. They're right back using. So we're setting people up for failure. We're not helping those that want to help themselves, and I find that very distressing. I find it very distressing when I hear from Councillor Manley about the number of seniors that are living in shelters purely for financial reasons, and as was stated, the three that they just talked about, all homeless people without drug use that we're aware of, you know, their lives altered forever because they've got no place to live and they don't even qualify because they're not addicts. And to me, that's wrong. So I hope this is supported. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thorpe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I'll certainly be happy to support this, and I just need to point out that Councillor Armstrong has been a strong advocate for dry supportive housing for a number of years now, and finally, maybe, some people in Victoria are starting to hear a message. But I did, if I may, Your Worship, just want to clarify, because when I looked at the wording of this motion, I have to confess it seems a little unclear to me, in that it reads, requesting reconsideration for designating 250 Terminal for dry supportive housing. And I think that can be read two ways, and we know the intent. We know what you want, but do you hear what I'm saying? I'm sorry? Well, then I won't quibble with the CAO.
I promise if it passes, I'll do the right thing with the letter.
All right. I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Councillor Himmons and Councillor Armstrong again? No? Okay. Councillor Himmons.
Thank you, Your Worship. This has my full support. This is a reiteration of an ask that Council unanimously supported when Minister Boyle was named minister. It was really disappointing to hear that wasn't on the ministry's radar at the time, and then to hear it announced in Victoria, it felt like a bit of a slap in the face. My own personal plea in this would be that our MLAs really help us voice this need here in Nanaimo, and that we should be getting the same amenities as other communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I'm supportive of this as well, and I've mentioned this before, but I've seen people come out of treatment and end up in the shelter system and end up right back where they started, and sometimes because they've gone through detox, they don't have the tolerance anymore and are more likely to die if they use. And so we need to make sure that people that do make those changes in their lives and are making the effort get the backing and support of the government and BC Housing, and that systems are in place to ensure that they succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Thanks, Your Worship. Fully support this, and I hope it's successful. I think part of the frustration is continually dealing with BC Housing in the province. Is you ask them for something, they say it's not possible. It goes out to the community, and rightfully so. The community has concerns, and then the optics of it change for the province, and they propose things elsewhere that they've repeatedly told you is not possible. So that is very frustrating. And it makes it hard to continually try to deal with them in good faith. And I hope, try to remain optimistic that they will take this consideration seriously and have a conversation with the appropriate parties to see if that is a possibility here. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think any of us will have any trouble really supporting this motion. What is astonishing to me is that in an era when all the experts and the people involved are trying to convince us that addiction is a health issue, and you create supportive housing, you throw people in that supportive housing who are still in active addiction, when the whole concept of supportive housing is to make you better and keep you better. but it appears it's taken a very long time to get past the whole issue of dignity and human rights to some extent, and I'm being a little bit sarcastic when I say this, somehow being more important than the healthy outcome that would result from people being able to stay clean and sober and have a full opportunity to do so. I think it will also be very interesting if the province does approve this and treats it that way to see what happens in the neighborhood. I would like to think that if there were more facilities like this that were dry, that we might see less disorder in various neighborhoods, and it might convince the province that perhaps there is a far greater appetite out there in the population who are suffering in our streets, in the thousands across this province, a far greater appetite for the opportunity to live in places where they feel safer and secure, because there aren't drug dealers coming in and out and there aren't people in active addiction. But I'm not going to dribble on any further tonight. Thank you very much to the delegation and to the representatives of the neighborhood who've come here tonight. Motion's on the floor. All those in favor and any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Ms. Gurry, question period? I suspect not, but one never knows. Moved, Councillor Perino. Seconded, Councillor Hemmens. All those in favor, Merry Christmas, but just remember we have Wednesday to come yet. Thank you very much, everyone who attended tonight. Much appreciated.